What if the walls of your home weren't just protecting you, but hiding someone else inside? Imagine thinking you're safe, living in peace, only to discover you've been sharing your space with a stranger. Tonight, we're uncovering 4 real stories of people who lived alone until they weren't. Some are some almost unbelievable, and others will leave you questioning just how safe your own home really is. So, are you ready to look behind the walls? Story 1. The Attic Stranger. Let me start with one of the most famous cases out of Japan. Picture this, a young woman living alone in her apartment. At first, everything seemed normal. She went to work, came home, ate dinner, and went to bed. Nothing unusual, except for one small thing. Food was vanishing. Not entire meals, just little bites here and there. A yogurt half gone, a piece of bread missing. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she just forgot she ate it. We've all done that, right? You tell yourself, I swear there were more leftovers in the fridge last night. But then, she noticed the television remote wasn't where she left it. Her shampoo bottle seemed lighter. Even her laundry folded differently than she remembered. Slowly, the thought crept in. Was she losing her mind? She decided to set up a camera. One tiny lens, hidden in her living room, pointing toward the kitchen. She went to work the next day, trying to shake off her paranoia. That night, she checked the footage. What she saw didn't just shock her, it shattered her sense of safety. The video showed a woman, yes, a stranger, crawling out of a cabinet above her kitchen. This wasn't some quick break. The woman stretched, quietly climbed down, grabbed food from the fridge, and wandered around the apartment like she owned it. Then, after eating, she climbed right back into the cabinet and closed the door behind her. This wasn't a one-time event. The woman had been living there for weeks, possibly months, sleeping during the day, moving only when the tenant was at work or asleep. The police later confirmed she had been homeless, sneaking into the apartment when the door was left unlocked years earlier. She simply stayed now. Stop and think about that. Imagine lying in bed at night, thinking you're safe, while someone is crouched just feet above your head, waiting for you to fall asleep. Would you rather have known earlier, or would ignorance have been bliss? Story 2. The Polite Intruder. Our next story comes from South Carolina, and it's the strangest mix of creepy and oddly considerate. A man living alone came home one evening to something peculiar. His couch moved. Not much, just slightly off. He shrugged it off. Maybe he bumped into it earlier. No big deal. But then he noticed the laundry, folded, neatly stacked on his bed, which was odd, because he hadn't done laundry in days. Still confused, he checked the kitchen. Dishes clean, and not just rinsed, washed, dried, and put away. Now imagine walking through your own home and realizing someone has been there, not to steal, not to destroy, but to help. Eventually, the man set up cameras, and sure enough, he caught the culprit, a woman quietly entering during the day while he was gone. She wasn't stealing money, electronics, or valuables. She was tidying, rearranging furniture, folding clothes, and washing dishes. When police finally caught her, she explained she thought she was helping. She had nowhere to go, and for her, slipping into someone else's house felt like get this a way of giving back. But here's the real question. Does the lack of malice make it less creepy? Or more? Would you be more unsettled by someone breaking in and taking your TV, or by someone slipping in to fold your underwear? Story 3. The disappearing sandwiches. Now, let's shift to something a little lighter, at least at first glance. A college student in New York City had a problem. His sandwiches kept disappearing. Now, if you've ever lived in student housing, you know food theft is practically a sport. But here's the catch. This guy lived alone. No roommates. No siblings dropping by. At first he thought he was just imagining it. But after the third or fourth missing sandwich, he knew something was wrong. So, like our first story, he set up a hidden camera. The footage revealed something both bizarre and heartbreaking. A man, middle-aged, scruffy, clearly homeless, was climbing in through the fire escape window when the student was gone. He'd sneak into the kitchen, grab a sandwich or some fruit, and slip out. No rummaging through drawers, no vandalism. Just food. The student was terrified when he saw the footage, of course. He called the police immediately. The intruder was eventually caught and removed. But here's the twist. The student later admitted he couldn't help feeling conflicted. On one hand, he was scared and angry. On the other, he couldn't shake the image of a hungry man risking arrest just for a sandwich. So here's something to think about. When someone invades your space, but not out of malice, out of desperation, do you feel anger or empathy? Story 4. The ghost that wasn't. And now for the final, and maybe the creepiest story of all. A man living in an old house kept hearing strange noises at night. Footsteps in the hall, doors creaking open, lights flickering. He became convinced his home was haunted. He even told his friends he thought there was a ghost following him. One night, after hearing movement downstairs, he decided enough was enough. Armed with a baseball bat, he went to investigate. He crept through the hallway, heart pounding, whispering to himself that it was just the wind. But as he reached the basement door, the noise grew louder. He flung the door open, shining his flashlight into the darkness. And there, standing in the shadows, was not a ghost. It was a man, a real, living man. He had been secretly living in the crawl space beneath the house for months. The noises, the footsteps, the creaking doors, it had all been him, sneaking out to find food and water. Now, here's the chilling part. The homeowner had been sleeping just feet away from this intruder every night. Every single time he brushed it off as a haunting, the danger was actually human. Flesh and blood. So I'll ask you, what's scarier? The thought of something supernatural you can't explain, or the very real possibility of someone hiding in your home, watching you, waiting for you to fall asleep?